Hi Reggae Addicts, Drummer Oz here. Today I want to give you some advice on how to get that Bob Marley reggae type sounding snare. 3 things to focus on. Number 1, the type of snare you get. Number 2, how you tune this snare. And number 3, how you muffle or dampen this snare. So number 1, get yourself a steel, metal, or aluminum type snare. Now, you might be thinking, why can't I use my wood snare? I love my wood sound, my wood snare. I love the tone I get out of it. The problem of using a wood snare in reggae is that in reggae music, there's a lot of cross-sticking happening. And that cross-sticking is usually a lot of the time happening right on top of the kick drum. For example, right? So in order to get that to cut through the mix, you're going to want your rim of your snare to be steel, aluminum, or metal so that it cuts through. So that's number 1. Now, number 2, the tuning of your drum, your snare drum. Now, you want the tuning of the snare drum to be higher pitch than your standard snare. So I've got a standard snare right here, and then in front of me I got the reggae snare. So when we're talking about tuning, let's flip these drums over, and let's start with the bottom snare head. And what I'll do, I have these snares turned off. So what we'll do is we'll get a stick underneath. Get a stick underneath the snare, and let's just listen to the tone. You'll notice that on the reggae snare, it's tuned tighter and it's tuned higher pitch. Now let's listen to the reggae one. So hopefully you heard that, higher pitch. So what does that mean? So that means when we're tuning our bottom head of our snare, or the reso head, of course you're going to go in your typical crisscross motion to tune it, but you can also go tighter than you would on your typical standard snare to make sure that it gets higher pitch. Let's flip it over. Flip it over so we can listen to the batter head. Now, with this, you're not going to notice the difference as much because on one snare, we already have some muffling. So it might not come through as clearly as it did on the reso head or the bottom head of the snare, but you should still be able to hear that the batter head is tuned higher and it's just tighter. Okay. And when the snares are turned on, okay. So, number 2, tuning, higher pitch, tighter. Number 3, check out some of the drum kits of some of the most famous reggae drummers. So we're talking Carlton Barrett from Bob Marley and the Wailers. Check out the kit of Sly Dunbar, one of my favorite. Leroy, Horsemouth, Wallace. If you ever checked out the movie Rockers, check that out. Really good movie. Look at their drum kits. It's muffled. They're toms. It's really muffled with tape to cut down the sustain. So that's what I've done a little bit of that on my snare. And listen to the difference. So standard snare, listen to the sustain. Listen to how long it takes before the ringing of the snare starts to subdue or start to disappear. Okay, so listen, a lot more punchy, not much sustain, a lot more drier than your standard snare, which is a lot more wet. Okay, those are your three things. Once again, steel, aluminum, metal. Number two, the tone, higher pitch. Make it tight. Number three, muffled. Muffle that snare. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something from it. Gonna play a little track for you so you can hear exactly how the reggae snare sounds in action. Please like, please subscribe. Gonna be doing a lot more of these tutorial reggae drum tutorials for you to help you with your drumming. This song I'm gonna do is by Ross Charmer and Reggae. It's called Bund 'Em Out. I hope you enjoy. Come out, I'm a fire, turn up a lava. Hear me now.
Reggae addiction.